everyone must have seen the agenda. That's why we have such a big crowd, because there's so much on the agenda today. Not really, but anyway. We will call this meeting of the Chartered Clubs Committee to order at 1:30. And if you would stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have 3 missing, but we still have a quorum, so we will declare a quorum for our meeting. And I will read the meeting procedures statement. The governing board and its committees conduct all of their meetings in compliance with Arizona Planned Community Association open meeting laws for statutes 33-1804 and in concert with RCSCW bylaws, policies, and standing rules. Parliamentary procedures, as outlined in the most recent edition of Robert's Rules of Order, will also be followed in all meetings as appropriate, consistent with Bylaw 3.07, which is procedures for owner-member meetings, and Standing Rules number 1 and number 3. All right, with that, we will move on to 2.01, minutes from the March 4th meeting, since there was none in April. Does anybody have any comments or additions, deletions to the minutes of March 4th? Seeing none, those minutes will stand approved as sent out. Okay. 3.01, Charter Club's Managers Report. That's Casey Huda.
All right, thank you. CR6s, those were due last Thursday, May 1st. Every single club has turned them in. So kudos to all of you. Good job. Great job. Give yourselves a hand. There you go. For some of you, it's a lot because you have a lot going on. For others, you know, it's pretty easy, but so Laura and Donna are starting to get those organized and get those put in. So you will be getting calls probably in the next month or 2 if there's any conflicts. I just kind of wanted to touch on the Friends of the Library because they used to be a chartered club and now they're partnered with our library. Unfortunately, their last movie is going to be June 26th. So the rec centers, that includes myself and Tia, and Katie's helping us out quite a bit with the marketing. We are going to continue those movies. I wish we have the flyer done, but it just wasn't ready in time for us to post this, so it was ready as of yesterday. But we have movies. We're gonna try something different in the summertime. We're gonna add matinees. I know this has nothing to do with chartered clubs, but I just thought it would be something for us to share with you because we will be looking for volunteers for the future. So it's going to be every other week in the summertime, matinees on Tuesday, evening on Thursdays, and then come September, we are going to go back to every Thursday. I apologize. So that's just something that could be potential with a little bit of assistance. So we'll find out. And then I have on here a bylaw template. When we reformatted the bylaws a couple of years ago, we had a template with mandatory and verbatim, and I have recognized, Christy as well, recognized that a lot of clubs are not familiar with that. So when we go over any clubs that want to change their bylaws, we usually give you a how to amend your bylaws. We're going to be adding this template. So there's certain areas that you cannot remove or you cannot delete, but you can always replace and edit. So those are just some things that we are noticing with the new transition of a bunch of new officers. So that's for us to make sure that we communicate a little bit better. Okay?
Great, thank you for that. All right, we will see if any of our Committee members have liaison reports. We can start with Cheryl.
Okay, I contacted all of my liaison clubs, 9 of them, and I had a whole bunch of questions that I asked, and I put a recap together, and I'll just kind of go over this real quick. But I received information from 8 out of the 9 clubs. Activities are held at R.H. Johnson Pool in the social hall, Palm Ridge Summit Hall in the pool, Beardsley Yoga Studio in the pool. Out of the 9 clubs, there are 71 weekly classes, and Country Western has an additional dance, 1 per month, and Rock and Roll has 2 dances per month. Membership at March was 2,493. That's pretty good. And it's about on par for last year of 24. Out of the 8 clubs reporting, guest and member participation, 22,896. That is a lot of people coming through their doors, using the facilities. That is a lot of people. The monitors are checking in. That is a lot of different attitudes and everything else, opinions walking through the door. Some days we have good days, some days not so much. So our monitors who tell them always thank you, as well as the monitors, the staff who are checking people in. The yoga club so far this year is the winner with 190 new members as of January through March. The arthritis club is the winner so far with social get-togethers. For all the members, we may be slow, but we're always on the go. That's their motto. And that's the truth. You do not stand between them and eating anytime. All the classes that are held on Saturdays do have good participation. And the fitness club had the most activities moved during the year. They had several classes move from the Summit Hall into the R.H. Johnson. And one of the classes, Sherry's Zumba class, had an increase of 30%. And they moved from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And this came with a lot of anguish, and I'm sorry, Casey, a lot of blue things on the internet. They just did not want to move, but it's been a great move. So that's it. They've had almost 10,000 people come through the fitness club for the first 3 months. Sherry's had an increase of 30%. When they moved to the social hall, they also had to move the energetic exercisers. So they were moved up in time. They started in December because the fitness club classes moved over in January. Okay, for about the first week, there was a mess in the parking lot. But this, I have to say, the monitors fixed it. They talked amongst themselves. They talked between the clubs, and they got it all sorted out. So it didn't go any further. I don't think you heard too much about it. Yeah. So they took care of it. That's another reason to say thank you to the monitors. You would not believe, I mean, these people were out in the parking lot, trying to get traffic through. The yoga club had several things during the year that were extra. They were well attended, especially the gong and the bowls. They're going to have more for next year. They had an outside event that was well attended, so it's going to be on again for November. The Water Fitness Club has 11 classes during the year. They have fantastic participation, especially at the R.H. Johnson Pool during the week in the mornings. The Aquasizers and the Arthritis Club meet at Beardsley. And again, for both those clubs, do not get between them and food, ever. Okay. The line dancers are meeting. They have good participation. They also have excellent participation when it's 110. I was there last year when it was so hot out, so they had a lot of people show up for that class. Country Western, they go from October through April, so they're finished for the year, but they have classes and a dance. So I have a lot of these extra papers that deal with the clubs and the participation. They offer a lot. They offer everything if you can barely walk or get around, or if you just want to socialize, or if you have a ton of energy. There's something for everyone, and I hope everyone can participate during the summertime.
Thank you, Cheryl. Great report. Great comments here. Before we go on to Pat, I would...
Yeah, the comments are the most important thing that I should have gone over that. A huge, huge thank you to the IT department and the social hall for getting the sound fixed. April was messy with the sound cutting in and out, and everybody was aggravated, and the problem was fixed. And I know that the IT department and the social hall think that they only helped a couple of people with the instructors and maybe the monitors, but they did. They helped hundreds of people because there's hundreds of people going in and out of there for the different classes. So that was huge. That was the main thing for that.
All right, thank you very much. I would, both Cheryl and Denise and Nancy prepared long reports of all the different clubs that they are liaisons to. Excellent information. It's been very helpful to me, and I would challenge all the other liaisons to, if they could put something in writing so that we could hand it to our next year's chair of the Chartered Clubs Committee. I think having that information is good basis for moving forward with the clubs. Pat, do you have any comments?
Well, I have 20 arts and crafts clubs, and I don't want to do a right cap for 20 of them. I didn't know that. They have small amounts. I have 20. Anyway, I've met with them all after the first of the year when they all had new presidents. I've met with all of them. Things have run really smooth this year. We've had very few problems, very little questions about the RR&Ps. I've just been blown away visiting all these clubs and seeing the types of things. You know, you hear these names, but until you get in there and see the things that these clubs accomplish and how much of it is done for charity, it'll blow your mind. I've been so impressed with what goes on in all these clubs. So that's about it. Writing up a recap, I don't know about.
All right, thank you, Pat. Nick, anything new with sports?
Just want to give a shout out to a couple of clubs. I do this periodically. Again, it's the raising money for charities. Pickleball, as you've probably already heard, raised $57,000 with the Fun in the Sun. But they've also given $3,200 to the West Valley Food Bank, and they also collect sneakers for the Heart Pantry. Talking of the Heart Pantry, move on to another club, tennis. They also collect sneakers for the Heart Pantry. And the Heart Pantry, if you haven't heard of it or what they do, is that the money raised from the collecting of old sneakers, which are either repurposed or recycled, goes to provide food for homeless and undernourished teens, particularly during the weekends and the vacations when they can't get food at school. Tennis also supports PASS, which is Programs for After-School Success, which is something that's run by the US Tennis Association, where they provide financial support and tennis equipment for teenagers in school to play tennis, and also do some mentoring and other work with the teenagers. And it's quite successful. The teenagers that play tennis tend to be the first in their families that are going to university and so on. It helps, it helps kind of feel like character building, work building, helps those students along. They provide backpacks and school supplies to the Washington Community Center. They provide gift cards to the Ronald McDonald House, grocery gift cards. The Ronald McDonald House is a house near the Children's Hospital in Phoenix where parents stay while their children are under long-term care in the hospital. And some of those parents can't afford the hotel bills and so on, and they're away from home. And so they stay in the Ronald McDonald House, and then there are gift cards from grocery stores there so that they can get themselves some food. I mentioned the Valley View Community Food Bank. Overall, they generate about $18,000 a year. It's said in food and in funds and goods. And one that you may have seen just recently in the local press, of course, was from Swinging to Spring, where 4,250 went to the Prides and 4,250 to the Possies. And I know, I'm looking at David now, because I know softball also raises, but do you know how much was raised at Cardiac Kids this year?
I think it was about $3,000.
Yeah, so, it's the annual Cardiac Kids tournament down at softball as well, so they're raising funds too. So that's what I have. And a big thank you to those clubs as well for the work they do.
It is amazing the charitable work that most of these clubs are doing. It benefits us and the Phoenix Valley area. All right, moving on. Denise, anything new from social clubs outside of your, how many pages? 6 pages? 6 pages in the report. Great report. Thank you.
So I type as much as I talk. I actually want to thank the rec center and everybody that got back with the responses. I really appreciate it. And these will be passed on to the different clubs that did bring their action requests to us. And I will get those back to them this week. And I want to thank you guys so much because it really helps.
Excellent, thank you. And anything new with card clubs, David?
Well, I recently made contact with all of them. We actually only had one new president, and he happens to be a softball player, so I get to see him all the time. And the rest of them seem to not have any problems at this time. I had followed up with them before, and I also, at the same time, I just reminded them about the CR6s, but they already all knew about that. So, but no, nothing new. Over the years, there have been a couple of problems, but Casey took care of that for them, and I think they said they were okay. So.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to 4.01 under new business. Just a reminder that any of you that would like to sit up here on any of the committees, the applications are due by May 15th, and you can get those applications online and fill those out. So we look forward to a lot of people applying to be on the committees this year. Moving on to 5.01 comments, we'll start with committee comments. We'll start with you, David.
It's been interesting meeting with the card group, and actually I've gone to meetings of other ones that I'm not the liaison with. Just interesting to go to their board meetings and see how they conduct things. And it's been a good experience for me to see all of these people having fun in their respective card groups and things, and enjoying their life here at Sun City West and the things that are offered. And it's been a pleasure being the liaison for them.
All right, thank you. Denise?
Like David said, there's some of the groups that we met in the social club that I had no idea what they did. One of them, for instance, Spanish Club. You guys enlightened us so much that, I thought Spanish Club was you learn to speak Spanish. That's it. And when I found out all the great things you guys do, and there was some of the other clubs that I had no idea. I never knew where the large dog park is, the all dog park. Got to get down there, stayed away from the dogs because I'm allergic, but just finding out new things about Sun City West, even though I've lived here almost 12 years. You still find out new things, meet new people, and it was great meeting everybody.
All right, Denise, thank you. Nick, you have any comments?
Yeah, I know it's difficult with the whole broad breadth of clubs we have and the variation in membership numbers, from less than 100 to approaching 2,000. I know we have a whole broad variety of clubs, but one of the things that impresses me is the professionalism of the volunteers at the board and the levels below the board in a club as well that keep things running. From my own experience in lawn bowls, it's not the board that keeps that club running, it's the members. It's the volunteer work that the members do, turning up every week, helping set up, break down, organise tournaments and things like that. And I've seen it as I've attended board meetings of some of the sports clubs, as that they're developing action plans, giving those actions to individuals. Those individuals have got a time frame in which to, in which to undertake those activities and so on. And it's good to see where the larger clubs, if you like, they're almost being run like a professional organisation, which bodes well for the future of those clubs and for the community as a whole.
I agree. A lot of professionalism there. Pat, any comments?
Well, I've lived here about 7 years, and I never was involved in any of this kind of thing. I just did my own thing, belonged to some clubs. But this year I decided to get involved. I got on this committee. I attended Torch, and I've watched a lot of the other committee meetings online. I don't go to many of them, but I do watch them on YouTube. And I just feel so good about myself, how far I've come in this year and how amazing this community is. And for those of you who have not done Torch, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing program. You learn so much about this community. It really, really is worth your time.
I would agree. Torch is a fantastic experience. Cheryl, any additional comments?
Mostly just to say thank you to all of the clubs, all the officers. I know every time I email them, I tell them I appreciate them. The members appreciate them. The clubs, like Nick was saying, they operate smoothly. The monitors are fantastic. They show up constantly. The staff from the rec centers are great. And I know I didn't say this earlier, but the yoga club appreciates the staff at Beardsley, because there's very short time between classes that they can come in and set up the chairs for the chair yoga. It is very appreciated. And we have to say thank you to Carl for the Palm Ridge pool, indoor walking pool, and then for the everything that's been, the locker room at R.H. Johnson, because I've asked the different clubs. There used to be a lot of falls in the locker room, okay? As of now, nobody has said anything. We haven't heard of any falls coming through. The pool lanes at Palm Ridge were very slick. We used to have people go under and they would panic. And those are holding up very well considering how many classes are go through there, and then the Boomers playing volleyball there. So it's a huge thank you to all the departments and to everyone on the board and our fearless leader. So.
Fearful leader. Casey, you have any comments?
Yeah. Can I go back to talking about the performing arts? Because I'm their liaison. Yeah. Okay. So just so you guys are aware, Theater West is still waiting for their IRS status, so they've reapplied for their 501c3. For those of you that may have not known, they unfortunately, that was revoked. They have figured out what happened, talked to the right people through the IRS, so they're moving in the right direction. So hopefully it all pans out. The letter they got was 140 days. Do you know where we're at on that? I don't know. There's not a lot of theater people in here. I see one, but so we'll kind of find out. And then Dance Sensations had their performance at the end of April, a couple weeks ago. Sounds like they had quite a few people attend. It was free, so I know 2 of the days were just about sold out, if not sold out. Chris, sold out? Okay. Okay. Yep. And then Westerners, again, they always blow it out of the water. I know Tia had to fill in for Nick as I don't know if it was a pirate or a sailor. So, not this Nick, sorry. Yes. You just have to say R. R, matey. Probably not like that, though. Yes. So they had a very successful spring as well. So moving into the fall, I think all 3 clubs are kind of figuring it out. As for theater, Tia is moving forward with a couple of different plays so that there's still opportunities for plays to be happening. And then if everything pans out, they'll just kind of take it over from then on after those plays are done. So, and then going to just comments, I will continue to send emails out about once a month over the summer. So please do not be a stranger. Things do occur. I'm looking into the bylaws again, your bylaws again. Laura and myself and Christy are looking to simplify some things. You know, many people, most of you actually are just, you don't know what a CR3 is versus a CR6. Well, you should know 6 now, but maybe a CR9, where we know every single one. So we're gonna simplify it so you know exactly what scheduling is. Just scheduling, right? So instead of it being a CR16, a CR14, a CR11, we're just gonna have scheduling or room reservation. So we were going back, and so we're gonna start working on that to simplify it and make it easier for you guys. I know it sounds like a lot of mumble to you, but when you see it on an actual maybe website, it'll help a lot for you guys figuring out how to fill out the forms and where to find them. So.
Sounds like a good plan. Sorry I skipped you earlier. When I first looked at all the different CR forms, and it filled a whole page, and I was just sitting there with stars in my eyes like, you gotta be kidding me. You got all these forms you have to take care of? It's just crazy. All right, well, I thank you for all those comments. Comments from our guests today. Please if you have a comment, please step to the microphone, state your name and your rec card number, please.
Debbie Dorn, 137872. I've been investigating the feasibility of forming a new chartered club, the Movie Club. Since it was run by a charter club and they changed the way things ran, I've been collecting signatures of people that are interested in forming a new chartered club. And I thought I'd come here and get some possible advice.
Casey's the one you want to talk to.
I have talked to Casey.
She can tell you what you need to do and give you assistance.
Yeah, you have to come meet with me first.
Okay, I've got my CR1 filled out. I've got my list of about 200 prospective members, and I have not moved forward yet because I know the rec center has a different idea. But I think it's exciting to think that we might get a new chartered club instead of having one less chartered club, have one more chartered club. So that's my line of thinking. Thank you.
Good luck with that. If we do have more comments, please make them at the podium.
I'm gonna chime in. So the rec centers pay for a license. It's a motion picture license production. It's quite expensive. So when we have that, we do that annually. We pay for it. The Friends did help out with it. So we have lost that little cushion, if you will. What happens is there's a list that's given, and it's very, very lengthy of all the production companies that fall under that umbrella. So it is a little difficult. So we just went through and picked out 8 movies, 4 of which I went back to the company because I couldn't find them under the correct umbrella, which means they are not covered by MPLC. Or MPLC? I have to say it out loud, I don't know. But that way, we're covered. If we show a movie with more than 10 people, and it is not covered, that's a huge hefty fine. And so it covers the chartered clubs, because I know some of the chartered clubs, I know Spanish does, Boomers used to, I'm not sure if they still show movies. And then Zymergy does, but they have that list as well. So they go and they make sure that they're following that umbrella. So for example, Sony Pictures is a lot of really good movies, but it's not covered, so they can't show those. But Universal is covered, certain Disney is covered. So it's interesting. It is over $14,000 a year we pay for that license. So.
Well, when we're paying that much every year, the more use we can get out of it, the better. That'd be a good deal. Any other guest comments?
Okay. Well, typically you would need to come to the mic and ask the question. So she asked if we could charge. No, the license does not allow us to charge. If we did donations like the Friends, then we would be doing a charity, which is fine. We could totally do that, but we cannot charge admission. Mm-hmm. Does that mean movies? As many movies as we want. So, John, will you tell the audience that they need to come to the mic? I know.
I did mention that to start with. If you do have comments, please go to the podium. This is all broadcast live and goes on YouTube. And when you make statements from your chair, the microphone won't pick you up. Nobody's going to hear that online. So please go to the podium if you have any other comments. Additional comments?
So if.
Name and rec card
Oh,
number, please.
yes,
I know.
Debbie Dorn, 137872. I'm just thinking about if we formed a new charter club, the Movie Club, we'd be a nonprofit, and the money that is donated for watching the movie could go out to charities in the area. That's my line of thinking.
I think that's pretty much what we have in mind for the movies that will be shown this summer, because it'll be a free will donation and we can't charge, so. All right, seeing no additional comments, I just like to say that I was really happy to have an agenda with nothing on it. And not because I'm lazy, but at the beginning of this year with the chartered clubs, we had accommodation requests, we had expansion requests, we had a lot of extra meetings trying to resolve issues with several of the clubs. And now here the last 2-3 months, it seems to be fairly quiet. Knock on something. Never say that, right? But anyway, it's been a great year. I just comment that Nick will be taking over as chair of the chartered clubs next year. I'm not sure. Our next meeting right now is scheduled for June 3rd, 1:30 p.m. right here, unless it is canceled. And if we have no further issues to discuss at that meeting, we probably won't have that meeting. So with that, if there are no further comments, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.